No. So local government is a disaster. It is a disaster because of the underlying mindset of the leader in Guyana. And everyone knows who the leader is. His thoughts are control, control, control.
Welcome back to One People Media. One people, one nation, one destiny. And here we bring you the latest news, culture, and stories that matter to you. Subscribe now and be part of the journey. This is One People Media. Your voice, your stories, your Guyana.
Guyanese, I'm live here. I didn't invite anybody. I'm sorry, but I'm sure we can get this over time. My message today is we're going to get a government, and it's going to be a new government. A new set of people are going to govern us in 2025, 2026, and the years beyond. What has been shaping this, our destiny? Let me take you back quick. This is 15 minutes. That's it. I'm done. So, 60 years ago, we had Burnham. And then we had black people supporting Burnham. And black people were very happy in those days because their race was in power. And coming out of slavery and coming out of colonialism, I think some sense they had, some kind of their senses, gravitated to that, my race is in power. Now, that allowed for, I think PPP has a rhetoric, 28 years of whatever we had. And I'm going to mention this because I know it is fact. When Burnham started in Guyana, it was what it was at that point. I think the older men that I know, they said they lived a far better life in those days. But what I'm going to tell you quickly is that I went in to manage the local government office in Berbice. It's the largest local government district in the country. And what I found was that the structures and the systems in place in that office 30 and 40 years before were better than I found them. They were seamless, they were structured, there was accountability, and it was respectful and everything like that. During the Burnham days, management and government systems broke down. And I'm telling you, it is my knowledge today that those same offices don't have those levels of management and accountability up to this day. I must say I served in that office for about 5-7 years, or maybe a little bit more. And whilst we did a lot of work, it is difficult, if it is difficult for you to actually, as the executive officer, to actually move things, because the politicians are always in your way. And this I'm speaking to local government ministry. They don't want any democracy. They don't want local government ministry. The structure, I'm shifting a little bit here, but the structure in Guyana, the way the PPP has set it up, is that the entire country must depend on central government for its resources, and so that the people have to acknowledge the dictatorship that is. It is not designed to empower people. Look at your local government areas. Look at the people that you put up there. It's the weakest and some of the dumbest people in your villages represent you. Why? Because the energy is to have party alliances, not the best person in your community to represent you and speak on your behalf. No. So local government is a disaster. It is a disaster because of the underlying mindset of the leader in Guyana. And everyone knows who the leader is. His thoughts are control, control, control. It means that, in a normal society, in any ordinary gathering of people, the best people, the people that are more proficient in having their voices heard, of having desire to help the rest of the community, those are the people that are recognized and recommended and steps up. But the problem with these people, and that's why we have party sycophants. The problem with these people, the people who have the will and the drive and the wherewithal to make a difference, they may not align with the party's policies. And they're not going to toe the line. These are independent minds. I have always been an independent mind. That's why I'm still here doing what I do. All I'm saying is, the best brains and the elite in our society is not the people that are managing our affairs. The people that are managing our affairs in Guyana are the lowest. Just look at, I don't know what your cabinet is comprised of right now, but I know Chetty had a lot of people. Some of them went to university and stuff like that afterward, and studied and stuff like that. But I moved away from what I really wanted to say there. What I'm saying here is that our individual characters is what is going to shape our government, the people that rule us. Now we fast forward to, we recognize. One moment, please. Just give me a moment there. Sorry about that. Yeah. We recognize that. I'm very sorry about that. That's my phone going off there. So we recognize that in those years back when Burnham was ruling, the race that ruled you didn't matter. Burnham took the entire country down to the gutters. And he did it with all he got. He took a beautiful nation. I could remember when I was going to the stores when I was a kid, a little two grocery baskets, about 24 inches long by 12 inches wide, by probably 12 inches deep. $5 would give you 2 full baskets of groceries. I remember that. And then the money came nothing. It became trash. And then it was bad. What I'm saying again is, the race that you vote for doesn't matter anymore. It never mattered. It's just in our perceptions that we think that the race that looks like us is going to do for us. You put somebody there in power, all they think about is themselves. Now let's look at ourselves. If we are a selfish bunch, if we are a greedy bunch of people, if all we can see is how to outsmart the other guy to get a benefit for ourselves, then we are going to choose the government that is going to outsmart us. And it's simple, because those character traits we can see in them. Um, let's look at why do Indians still support PPP even though they know that the oil contracts are messed up. Bharat continues to do whatever. The thing is, they cannot conceptualize, they cannot understand that they are the owners of this wealth in Guyana. They don't understand that. Guyanese Indians don't understand that. They feel that Bharat owns the wealth and he's giving them $100,000 every now and then. They can't get this. And Guyanese, we need to get there. We need to get to a place where we know that the wealth of Guyana belongs to each one of us. And we are voting for people not because of what they look like and what color and what race. We are voting for people who are going to manage our wealth, our resources, our money. And that is what is paramount. Putting people, would you employ somebody that is a thief in your house to do work for you? That you know steals? No. But our problem in Guyana is you can employ an Indian guy that steals, but not an African guy that is honest. You know, that kind of thing. All I'm saying is here is that we will vote September 1st. I think we have reached a place where we stop voting with race, and Mohammed and Wind Party has done a good job doing that, and the Forward Guyana movement has been doing a good job with that also. So what we're seeing here is that these small parties have made a great impact on the minds of people. And the people that are moved away are the people that have their conscience intact. You see, the people that stay with the criminal governments are the people who think that they are entitled to unfair advantage. What is unfair advantage? Unfair advantages, if I am a contractor and there's a due process that has to happen, and an unfair advantages when I don't really, even if I go through the due process, I know I'm going to get special benefits because I'm aligned to a personality in government. Like in Region 6, if you're aligned to that short guy that is on the tender board, I forgot his name. Short guy, short Indian kind of potbelly guy. Yeah, if you're aligned to that guy, you're in a safe place. And that is a public secret. If you're black or blue or brown, you just align to those people. And of course, there's value added to that. So there's value added. Of course, you pay something and get something. So what I'm saying is, we as Guyanese, we are very comfortable with this unfair advantage. We don't look around and see our fellow human beings as human beings. We look around and we see a poor man as a good for nothing. Regardless of how much he's struggling to get to make a difference with his life and his family's life, we look at him less. We look at the guy who is wealthy, the thief, the scamp, the guy who swindles, the guy who does whatever. I'm not saying all wealthy people swindle, and neither do I say all poor people whatever. All I'm saying is, in our minds, money and wealth attract us. And we are comfortable with sacrificing integrity, honor, the principles that we grew up with, like thou shalt not steal. How can you grow up with thou shalt not steal in your family, your parents telling you that daily, and then you go ahead and you vote for a government that steals, and you know that they steal, and you do that? And I'm telling you this, and this is coming from me. I am very aware that both the PPP and the PNC have been stealing for the last 60 years. I'm very, very aware of that. And I'm grateful to whatever is. Let me say God then. I'm grateful to God for this privilege that we're having in Guyana today. To have a situation where we can vote our conscience instead of our race. We can actually elect leaders based on how we think that they can perform for us. I'm telling you, the first thought that comes to mind here is that there are people that are going to vote PPP. Number one, they want to put those guys, the people that are going to put those guys back in power are the people that think that their skin color somehow has a level of superiority above the other skin color. That is one reason. The other thing is they're fearful, and they have examples and reasons to be fearful. Like the last time they voted PNC and they didn't do good. They actually all they did was spend money. They didn't, I mean, Granger had some good policies, but I saw PNC getting as corrupt and worse than corrupt before the end of their term. They were like super corrupt. And I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that PPP is any less corrupt. All I'm saying is we want unfair advantage, and we're going to vote for PPP and PNC because those alignments are going to give us unfair advantage. The other two parties that I'm seeing there, the Win and the Forward Guyana, those guys are going to give you justice, fairness, and empathy. You know, they're gonna. The way I see them is that they know all the weaknesses that exist in the government today, and they're willing to make that change. But that change has to be made by you. So if you're a lazy SOB, then, and let's assume that you're an Indian, then maybe, you know, you'd vote for the people who gives you privileges and benefits in an unfair way. And you don't think for one moment, and let me tell you something, karma works. So for one moment, you may not want to think that, you know what, why doesn't it be fair? Why is it one contractor can get 10 contracts and the other one, I'm just saying that for example, the other one can only have one. And I have had those experiences in Guyana where unfair advantage happens. And I'm talking about Region 6, and I'm talking about under the PPP administration and under the PNC administration. Both of them. They had their select group of people. I remember one Indian guy, he used to get work on the PPP, and then he died now. Was my friend. And then so I left, and I asked him, I said, what is happening here now? He said, under this new PNC business wagon, you have to go, under the new PNC business wagon, you have to go to the regional, you have to get connection with the regional PNC people for get jobs. And he negated that connection because he on coolie by. That's the disgust that we had with black man and coolie in the last 60 years. Of course, there are things that are in between, but I'm saying, you know what? These small parties, I would encourage you every moment to vote for them, because I'm sure they're going to make a difference. I'm absolutely certain. Your race You know, when you come out of Guyana and you come into the US. So one time when I came to the US here, I remember one Indian guy telling me, he said, "Bye, you mati kuli no go help you in this country. You know, I just came, so I'm trying to figure things out." He said, "Any problem you get," and that's an Indian man telling me. He said, "Any problem you get, you speak to a black American or a white American. They can help you. But not speak to kuli, they're gonna lie, they don't want to see you get up. They don't want to see you benefit from anything." I don't know. You tell me about your experiences, you Guyanese people, Indian people living in but all I'm saying is there are people that are going to want benefits and privileges, and they are going to, I can see a set of people, and I know the people that are going to vote PPP this round. And don't tell me, Indian people, that you still remember Bornham time and the suffering that you went through. That time has passed. I lived through that time. That is why I will never vote PNC. And now the black people have lived through the PPP time when they met the similar atrocities, similar, issues with themselves, when the pie was never being shared equally and the systems were not working. So black people suffered under the PPP in that way. A lot less, I think, but, there's more of a perception of suffering too under this PPP government. But like for the last term that they had so much money, nobody had to suffer. All you had to do was pledge loyalty to Bar Jagdeo and the PPP, and you get anything we want. You can be black, blue, or green. But that's the unfair advantage again. Do we want a culture in our society where we would rather have things that should have been somebody else's or have more than the other person because we have an alignment with a set of people, a political organization? That is not fair. The resources of Guyana belongs to every Guyanese. And there must be an equitable way. And there are tons of systems. There are always systems to make sure everything is right. But do we want that? Anyway, Guyanese, finally, I'm saying that you will vote based on your concept and your perceptions of how things should be. I'm asking you to listen to your conscience, your own conscience, every time, and vote your conscience. And there are many things, and let me tell you something. Recently, PPP, I see them go up every time. And comrades, we build a bridge, and we build a road, and we build... They didn't tell you that oil money, this is the first time that the oil revenue is pouring in. They didn't tell you that. They didn't tell you that there's so much money to spend that it's unthinkable. And they didn't tell you that whilst they have so much money pouring in, they still took like 65% of their budget as loans. They don't tell you that. But their intention is to make you or fool you or lie to you. So, all I'm saying again is, my encouragement to you is, support the people who would never steal your money. And those are the small parties. And you have Win. And I think that guy is a soulful guy. I think he respects people. He likes people. I see him one time, his countenance changed when he saw how poor people are suffering. And, it all starts in the heart. You can get a great talker like me go in and be president and be a great liar. But you can have a good heart inside and you can be a great president, because everything that emits, it's not about strategies and policies and all those kinds of things. Whatever is your heart, I remember Chetty right away. Whatever is your heart, whatever sincerity you have for the people that you promise to serve, you are going to make policies and programs to ensure that those things meet the people. But if you're a criminal and you like thief and you think that you're better than everybody else, the way I see this current government feels, then you are going to do things for yourself and then share the crumbs, give everybody else, like the $100,000 I share right now. Guyanese, I'm going to leave you. Thank you very much. I got some work to do. You have a beautiful rest of the day.